You are now tuned in to Peach State TV, where any gym is home. www.peachstatehoops.com. Enjoy the show.
In short, that's kind of the answer of how I feel about those programs.
Great. The second question of the day will be, looking at the July evaluation period, some of the NCAA rules have come into play. They've kind of shifted the focus and tried to take out some of the undue influence.
Sure.
How does that impact, what you do here at Peach State
Sure.
and some of the other event organizers and runners around the country?
I think a lot of it is kind of a moot point. Even going a couple of summers forward, looking at the adjoining state rules, I do think that it hurts a situation where it's a kid who maybe is from Alabama or South Carolina, to use the Southeast as a reference, but wants to play with a team out of Atlanta, which is a major city, where you've got more players, if there are 3 or 4 kids, so there are 4 kids, 2 from Alabama, 2 from South Carolina that want to play on that team, only 3 of them can play. I do understand the purpose of the rule. I think a lot like what happened on the boys' side, the girls has gotten some negative press due to some kids kind of jet setting. I think honestly, a lot of those kids would have played in the same tournaments they played in anyway. So if not, they would have stayed home and played in a tournament in California or in Alabama. They would have been in a tournament in Atlanta or in Augusta or in Washington, D.C. or in Virginia Beach. They're just playing with a different team that maybe gives them a little bit more options college coach-wise. Everybody who has been out on the circuit, you want to play with a premier team where the back line is going to be full. I think that everybody can kind of respect that. But we'll see. I think the days are still good. You still got 10 days on each side of the 6-day break. So there's more than enough time to get out and play. If you can't get a scholarship in 20 days, you're playing with the wrong team, or you might need to explore some different options, maybe a smaller school that didn't see you. We offer a consulting program for kids like that want to play at the Division II, Division III, and NCAA level. Maybe those schools don't get out as much. So.
Well, staying with the focus of the July period and just recruiting in general, every year the sneaker and the influence between obviously Nike's a big player and Adidas has had a hand in. Some other companies have tried to put some stuff together. That changes the landscape, so to speak, in terms of which kid is going to play here, and maybe there's going to be a circuit focused on a specific shoe company. How does that impact what you do and some of the other people?
Sure. I think as an event operator, it doesn't change a lot of what I do. I think obviously April is a big time for shoe alignments. We've been fortunate with the Tip-Off Classic that regardless what shoe is on your feet, whether it be Nikes, Pro Kids, Fila, Under Armour, Adidas, we just want players who want to play. We want schools that want to come in and be able to recruit those players. So that's kind of been our focus across the board. That it's about who you are as a player, how good you are as a player, maybe as opposed to a shoe brand. And I don't think, once again, talking about the boys' side, I don't think that you get the same kickback because there's not the same financial involvement. I think as an evaluator, and this touches a lot of what we do with the JumpOffPlus.com, we're out and we do the best we can to make sure we see kids across lines. Whether it's Brandon Clay, Peach State, Keil Moore, that kind of deal, or whether you're talking the Nike circuit, the Adidas circuit, Mike White circuit, Mike Flynn with Blue Star, the events Carl Tinsley puts on, Steve Kazaki, anybody that's out there doing this. You just want to make sure as an evaluator that you get out. There are enough days, I think, that you can hit J.B. Matthias Day, Memorial Day weekend. You can hit a couple of Peach State non-certified events. You can see everybody pretty much within an 85 to 90 percentile range. You just don't want to miss anybody in the top 50. I think obviously we've been able to do a good job of covering, Glenn, Chris, those guys at Hoop Girls have done a good job covering Mark Lewis. Want to make sure I mention him. Mike Flynn for years with Chris Minnick with Blue Star. Brett McCormick's out a lot of the places that we go with All-Star Girls Report. So I just think it's a matter of putting your boots on, so to speak, strapping up, as whether it's an evaluator or a college coach, and getting out and making sure you see who you need to see. And you can kind of pick and choose. If there's one kid at one event, unless you're babysitting that kid trying to get him to come, you don't have to go to that event. You can go to a place where the quantity and the numbers are better served for you, for your staff, whether it be a regional or a national emphasis. So,
well, one more tail off of that.
Sure.
How does the impending legislation about hosting events maybe on a college campus? You've hosted some of your events on college campuses, Georgia Tech, Clemson, Kennesaw State, some stuff here in the Southeast. Do you feel like that gives a college an opportunity? Because personally, I think it's great anytime you get a kid on a college campus.
Sure.
Let them know that there's opportunities outside. Basketball can take you places outside of some of the things that you might not have known you could do. But do you feel like that's gives a college or a school an unfair opportunity?
Well, when I spoke with Chris Hansen about this a couple weeks ago, the events I have at Georgia Tech or at Kennesaw State, or even at Clemson, the kids aren't having Starbucks in Michelle Joseph's office, or Kobe Tilly or Christy McKinney. That's a violation. Are they on the campus? Well, sure they are. I don't think for the 98% of the kids that are at that event that would never wind up going to one of those schools that it matters at all. And for the 2%, other than maybe making them aware of what campus looks like, it doesn't matter. And most of them, if the interest was strong enough, would have been back at some point to take an unofficial visit if they haven't been already before they arrived to the event. So I think it does more harm than good when you weigh 98 versus 2. There aren't, like I said, some of the issues that are on the boys' side. I know we want to keep it uniformed. I understand it's almost the reverse of Title IX, so to speak, is that you want to keep it gender equal. And I can appreciate that both from an NCAA perspective and two, just from a boys' side perspective. I got some friends that do boys' side stuff, and I'm sure that's a complaint on their end. But I don't want to penalize the masses, and I think when you get into the discussion of moving them off college campuses, for the kids, who are not going to play, and not even at that level, so to speak, but just not at that institution, now you take away Georgia Tech, who spent millions and millions of dollars on building a beautiful facility where kids are getting exposed to, in our case, 125 or 130 schools at a time.
One location.
One location. The coaches don't have to pick up and drive. They don't have to move. We talk about Starbucks. They can drink their Starbucks, sit in one spot, and turn the chair to the left and watch another court. So, I don't want to get into penalizing multiple kids for the sake of maybe one kid. But, I do understand that legislation is what it is, and however it turns out, we here at Peach State will respect that and move forward in the right way.
And lastly, we'll shift the focus a little bit. We'll talk about this 2010 class. WNBA draft will be coming up right after the Final Four. It's always a good time to see some kids, and make that next step to the next league. How good is this class? Probably Tina Charles and Jana Poe. How deep is this class? Will they make an impact? Will give us something to watch in the summer?
Yeah, well, I really like the class. I think, obviously, you touched on two of the heavy hitters in Charles and Appel. You dig a little bit deeper and you see Riley at Oklahoma State, Monica Wright, who are in that Player of the Year race, obviously in their own conferences, if not nationally. You get a little bit deeper than that. Kid we saw last night, Jacinta Monroe, very good player at Florida State. We talked about Alicia Harvin earlier. There's just a lot of good kids. You go up the coast a little bit and you talk about, say, a Joy Cheat. There at Duke was kind of hidden. You slide up the coast a little bit more. You talk about Cole Michael at Syracuse. You talk about a Kelsey Griffin at Nebraska. You just are a lot of really good kids across the country, I think, who put themselves in a position to get drafted, hopefully be able to stick on WNBA rosters. You're going to get, I call it traction. I think this is a class that can give you some traction. It's going to give you some kids, Ashley Sweat at Kansas State, Daniel McCray, obviously, who's out with the ACL now at Kansas, Brittany Raven at Texas, Erica Arira, some kids, who are going to give you a little bit of depth. If they don't make a roster, they're going to have the opportunity maybe to go overseas and play, maybe to get back here to the States if the league can kind of get its financial stuff together and maybe expand back out. The contraction obviously hurts the amount of jobs that they have here, but I think it's as good a class as any. Obviously it's not a top heavy class, but anytime you're able to look at four kids possibly, with Charles Appel, Riley, and Wright, who can come right in with an offensive shot blocker, Jacinta Monroe, who would be similar to, say, Hashim the Beat, who went to Memphis with the #2 pick in the boys draft last year, in the NBA draft. So when you can go 5 kids deep and then you start getting quality finds like a Kelsey Griffin, who might be like a Shalay Linick from Kansas State, where if she can catch on with the right team and the right situation, right system, it's going to be a really good fit for her as well. So I think there's a lot to be found in this class, in this draft. It's just a matter of the general managers finding what works for them in their system, if you want to get up and down, or if you want to kind of keep it more low-key, more of a half-court set, or a combination of both. What's going to work for you and your franchise?
Great. Sounds good. If you'd like to email us a question, you got a comment or something you'd like us to discuss either on another episode of Peach State TV or on one of our weekly articles on the Mailbag, email Brandon Clay at bclay@peachstatehoops.com, or you can email me directly at kmoore@peachstatehoops.com. And always remember, any gym is home.
Also, too, before we throw it out, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Peach State Hoops right here, at Keil Moore right here. We've been getting it done. We're out on the road. We're watching, especially as it turns into the springtime. Make sure you're sticking with us. Any gym is home.